Alright, so this is my rough and dirty review of the movie Spectre. Not these movies, but this movie, Spectre, starring Daniel Craig as Ian Fleming's 007 James Bond, directed by Sam Mendes. These are the only Bond memorabilia I have. Big Hot Wheels fans out there. And my tickets. I watched it with my wife a couple nights ago, Friday night. And I have to say, Spectre is by far the worst James Bond movie I have ever seen. I've seen all the James Bond movies, yes, including The Living Daylights. Maybe so it's tied with Living Daylights, but I am a big Pierce Brosnan James Bond fan. I think all four movies of Brosnan were the best movies for me. I like Connery. Moore was okay. But I'm a big Pierce Brosnan fan. And ever since Daniel Craig came on board to be the new James Bond, the new 007, it's been very difficult to watch the James Bond movies. They've always been, I'm sure they're well acted, well made, well directed, but it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth after watching the film. It just lacks so much joy, and it's never like a feel-good film. Now, with all these movies coming out, these Bond wannabes like the Bourne series, Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible, Kingsman, all these movies, Spectre was the movie that I think was the great opportunity for the Bond franchise to really put a stamp on their mark and tell the world who the king is, and tell all the amateurs how it's done. These guys are trying to dethrone the James Bond from the super spy crown, but sadly, this latest movie, Spectre, just made the franchise fall flat on its face, and it was just a big disappointment. After seeing a lot of Bond films, you're hoping that this is the one that's gonna crush all the wannabes. Anyway, so let's try and talk. There will be spoilers in this review, so if you don't want to get spoiled, or if you haven't seen the movie, which I doubt, you've probably seen the movie by now, but if you haven't seen it, you go watch another one of my reviews. Anyway, so the story. I get it. It's like episode 3. They had to show us how Darth Vader was made. They had to show us how Spectre was born. A lot of that. I get it. But they could have written I think they could have written out a better story. What am I saying? The motivation for the guy who built Spectre was, well, fine. He wants control over the world domination. That's always the case. But his main reason for killing James Bond is because he was jealous of the guy. Because he was an adoptive brother. His father adopted him, and they were supposed to be foster brothers. And he got jealous because the father liked James more than him. Oh, boo-hoo. I mean, okay, fine. We get some worse villains, but okay. I thought he had like a more sick mind than that. He's pretty sick-minded, but what a motivation. Anyway, the thing about spy movies is, okay, given that they are fantastic, they're not supposed to be real, that's the main reason you go into the movies. You want to escape life. You want to escape the drama. And the way the Bond movies with Daniel Craig has been made, is that they're very real. And I get it, they're trying to be real. But in this movie, they're trying to make it too real, and yet they're trying to keep a lot of the fantastic, unrealistic tradition that James Bond has. For instance, they're trying to keep it real that when Bond gets captured, he gets tortured, he gets hurt. I get that. But that's not how you want to see your hero. Like, the reason Mission Impossible movies have been very successful is Tom Cruise gets caught. He almost gets it. Then all the knives are at him. He's tied up to a chair, the knives, and somehow he manages to escape without a scratch on him. I mean, those are the things you need to see in a super spy movie, because he's a super spy. Now, Daniel Craig, he gets beat up. I mean, in the first movie he made, his balls got tortured. It was mortifying and at the same time funny, and it was utterly useless. It was just not the feel-good film. The hero shouldn't get, fine, I get it. He needs to get caught for realism. He needs to get hurt a bit. But I mean, okay, he gets tortured here in the movie. He gets injected in the specific nerve point so that he loses some of his memory, loses his sense of sight, taste, whatever. That's not supposed to happen. When the needle's about to hit him, he's supposed to find a way to escape. That's what audiences are expecting. Not, oh, he gets hurt. The next needle. He's supposed to escape the second needle. He got hurt in the first needle. The second needle, he still doesn't escape. He still gets hurt. And then finally he throws up a watch bomb. A watch bomb. That's the best you could do. Okay, you want to make it real? Okay, he goes out, he shoots all the bad guys. What's real about that? He doesn't even get a scratch. He doesn't even get hit on the shoulder. No bullets. I mean, okay, Sam Mendes, you're trying to make the movie real? I wish you'd do it all the way. Not real in some parts and fantastic in some parts. Like James Bond, every woman he meets, he just, like Sean Connery films, he just met the woman and bam, goes to bed with her. I mean, sure, it might happen in real life for some of us, but you know, in the super spy in the spy world, that never happens. But yet he adds that. That's fantastic. That's unbelievable. And yet he wants the torture scene to be believable. What the hell? Either make it fantastically unbelievable yet believable, like Kingsman, or fantastically real and downright believable, like Bourne. You can't Bourne series. You cannot have two of the same things in one movie. Unbelievable and believable. Anyway, Daniel Craig is a great actor. He's okay. I think the Bond, but it's just a very boring Bond. He kind of looks like a thug in all his movies. He does not have that flair, that debonairish look, that suave that James Bond should have. He's like a goon. I'm sorry to say it. And in this movie, Specter, the Bond girl, I have nothing against her. She's great. I'm sure she's a great actress. She's going to be in another movie, I think in Avengers or Captain America. I'm not sure, but I'm sure she's great. But the way the character's been written up, there was nothing likable about Dr. Snow. She was plain, bland, and boring. They tried to spice her up with that night dress, with that evening gown or whatever that she wore on the train that really made James Bond's jaw drop. I think James Bond was the only one who was stunned by her. I personally was not. Bond girls should be sultry, seductive. You've seen Connery films. I forgot the girl's name with the white bikini. Halle Berry, Kim Basinger. I mean, all these Bond girls, they're so I'm sorry to say, they're very lustful. But with the Spectre, there's nothing to like about the Bond girl. Okay? Let's go to the Henchmen. Henchmen are very famous in Bond movies. My personal favorite, I have two. The first one is that the guy looks like a sumo wrestler. He has like that bowler hat that has the bowler hat of doom. He throws that hat and has blades. He's super strong. You can't kill him. That guy, I forgot his name. The other favorite henchman I have is the one played by Famke Janssen, Jean Grey. Famke's henchman role, her power was like she would crush the victim's ribs by straddling them. It's very sexual, but it works. It's like a fantastic power gimmick that these henchmen had that does not happen in the spy world. And now we got Batista. But yeah, I love David Bautista. He's Filipino. He's a great wrestler, I think. I've seen most of his matches. He's okay. But I loved him in Guardians of the Galaxy. And now I was really rooting for him in here. And his superpower was he had these long fingernails. He gouged out the eyes of his victims and he crushed the head and then finally killed them. Okay, that was great. It would have been nice to see more of his supernatural strength, his feet, rather than just being impervious to punches. Most of the time, he was just a driver. In the whole movie, that was a great car scene, though. I'll talk about that later, but he was driving the other car that was the Maserati. I think that was following the DB10. He was barely seen in the movie. These henchmen, they're always with the bad guy, and somehow they're the first obstacle to getting the bad guy with James Bond. But he was just like, he just popped up and then he just disappeared. Then he pops up again and I don't even know if he's dead. He gets killed in a very cliche way. Rope tied to his neck, and then Bond just pushes the weight that the rope has been tied to, and then he gets thrown off with the rope, and then so cliche. I think they ran out of ideas for this one. Okay, let's go to the cars. The cars are great. The DB10, fantastic. I saw it. If you've seen the episode on Jay Leno's Garage on YouTube, DB10 was phenomenal. Now you go to a Bond movie, you'd think they'd learn already from Iron Man 3 that, or GoldenEye. GoldenEye, the car didn't do anything. Iron Man 3, the armor was pathetic. Well, it was funny. It was funny. It was good looking, but it was pathetic. Same thing with the car. It was great. It was good looking. It was fast. But they made it pathetic. They made it useless. I get it. They're trying to inject humor. But you don't want to see that in a Bond film. You go to a Bond film to see all these gadgets. All these spy tech stuff that doesn't happen in real life. That's what you want to see. You want to see a car that... So he has no gadgets except for that stupid flamethrower. Again, cliche. He burns the Maserati or whatever. And then there's nowhere else to go. He crashes it in the water. It's so stupid. So the whole car scene was built up. It was like, oh my god, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. This is going to end great. And then it ends. It's like, what the F? I mean, it's like you're being built up, the excitement, you know. That's how I felt the whole throughout this movie. It starts off with a fantastic scene. The opening soundtrack or theme, Sam Smith. I'm not a big Sam Smith fan, but it was a phenomenal song. The writing's on the wall. Great opening scene. You get built up. You get this exciting, and you get built up and built up and built up. The excitement builds up, and then we're about to you about to explode in excitement. You find out there's nothing. There's nothing to be excited about. The movie ends with James Bond saving the day, and it's so cliche. The ending is cliche, but the way they got to the ending was stupid. So he finally gets to the bad guy. He saves the girl from the stupid bomb building. The old MI6 building was rigged to blow up. He saves the girl. The way he catches the bad guy rides a helicopter. So Bond follows him in the stupid speedboat, and he tries to shoot the helicopter with his pistol. He tries to shoot him, bam, 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 and then he finally hits the engine, and the airplane, I get it, trying to be realistic, fine, whatever. But in a Bond film, the villain has to explode. The villain has to die in a glorious way. He can't just... Okay, the main villain gets stumped by a aircraft crash, by a helicopter crash. He crawls out of the helicopter, and then Bond goes at him, ready to kill him, and then he says, finish it, and then Bond doesn't, because his girl is watching. He doesn't finish him, because, he needs to be Specter or whatever. And that's it. It's so cliche. It's so stupid, the way he gets to the villain, and it's so cliche. And then, what happens? He decides to show the girl, I'm done, because the girl doesn't like his life, and the girl doesn't want him to change. And he says, I want to be with you. And he, retires as James Bond? What the hell is that? It's like Iron Man retiring. That's the main problem with Iron Man 3. I did not like the fact that Tony Stark retired. But, well, we all know he's never going to retire as Iron Man. But James Bond retiring? Yeah, sure. We know he's not going to retire. There's always going to be 007. But... why even include that? Retiring for the girl? Bond always gets the girl, even if he doesn't retire. They just land on an island and they make out. They land on a raft in the middle of nowhere and they make out. They something like that. There's always an end scene. Here, he just gets back his old Skyfall Aston Martin, and then he drives away with the girl. That's it. Not even to the sunset. I mean, what the hell was that? I'm sorry this has dragged on long enough. As you can see, my frustration, because I've seen the Bond films, and I was hoping this was going to be the best out of all of it. And just to suck it into all these wannabes that, yes, Bond is back, and this is how you do it. Instead, it was a great big disappointment. It was very disappointing. Unsatisfying, joyless movie. I would not recommend you watch it. You can download it. You can just watch it on HBO. Not worth the money and time. 2.5 hours of boring, useless James Bond. And I'm sorry. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. That's it. This is by far the worst movie, tied with Living Daylights. And I think it's fair to say that this one was a bomb. James Bomb. Yep. Alright, that's my overly long, rough and dirty review of Specter, 007 James Bond. Thanks for watching.